Welcome back to She Rises Daily, Emerging You in 10. I'm your host, DocShellie, here to bring you your daily dose of inspiration, empowerment, and growth. Have you ever been in the middle of something difficult and almost immediately started trying to figure out what it meant? What am I supposed to learn from this? Why is this happening? What's the lesson? How is this going to make me stronger? We love to find meaning. Meaning helps us organize experience. It gives us a story. It makes difficult things feel a little less random. And I've been thinking about something. What if we sometimes rush meaning? What if you're trying to understand an experience you haven't finished experiencing yet? Because not everything makes sense while you're standing in the middle of it. Sometimes the honest answer is, I don't know what this means yet, and maybe that's enough. Meaning sometimes requires distance. There's a reason hindsight is so powerful. Distance gives us information we simply don't have while something is happening. When you're inside an experience, you're working with incomplete data. You don't know what happens next. You don't know which parts will matter later. You don't know what you will learn. You don't know how you might change. You don't know what opportunities might emerge because of it. And yet, we pressure ourselves to create a conclusion while we are still somewhere in the middle of the story. It's kind of like stopping halfway through a movie and announcing what the entire thing was about. You might be right. Maybe you haven't seen enough yet. Sometimes meaning isn't something you discover by thinking harder. Sometimes meaning becomes visible with time and experience. We sometimes use meaning to escape uncertainty. This is where it gets a little interesting. Why are we so desperate to understand? Sometimes because understanding feels like control. If I can explain what happened, if I can identify the lesson, if I can determine why this happened, then maybe I can make the uncertainty go away. We do this with disappointment, loss, failure, unexpected change. Everything happens for a reason is a popular notion. Maybe that's true. Sometimes that sentence is less about wisdom and more about our discomfort with not knowing, because I don't know why this happened can feel incredibly vulnerable. There's no nice, clean ending, no inspirational bow, just uncertainty. And uncertainty doesn't mean you're missing something. Sometimes you simply don't have enough information yet. I've had coaching conversations where someone is going through something significant and they're already trying to turn it into a lesson. They'll say, I know I'm supposed to learn something from this. And sometimes I'll ask, what if you don't have to know what that is yet? And you can almost see the pressure come off because now they don't have two jobs. They don't have to navigate the difficult experience and simultaneously extract wisdom from it. They can simply experience it. They can pay attention. They can respond to what is actually in front of them and trust that understanding will probably come later. There are experiences in my own life that I understand very differently now than I did while I was living them. Not because I wasn't self-aware enough then. I simply didn't have the rest of the story yet. Not every difficult experience needs to become a gift. We're very good at turning difficult experiences into inspirational narratives. You'll hear things like, it made me who I am. It happened for me, not to me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And sometimes that is genuinely how people come to understand their experiences. It's a beautiful thing. We also don't have to force that interpretation. Some things were simply painful. Some things were unfair. Some things we would absolutely choose not to experience again. You can grow from something without being grateful it happened. You can learn something without calling the experience a gift. And you can create meaning after something happens without believing the experience happened specifically to teach you that lesson. And I think that's an important distinction. Meaning does not have to justify what happened. Sometimes meaning is simply what you choose to carry forward from it. We also need to recognize that a complete answer is, I don't know yet. We often treat I don't know like it's a temporary failure of thinking. Surely if we just reflect a little more, journal a little more, analyze more, talk about it some more, we'll figure it out. Maybe, or maybe the answer genuinely isn't available yet. There's wisdom in being able to say, I don't know what this means. I don't know how I'll feel about this 6 months from now. I don't know what I'm going to learn from this. I don't know yet. That last word matters because yet leaves the door open. It doesn't demand an answer right now. It doesn't deny that an answer may eventually come. It simply acknowledges, I'm still living this story. Here's your reflection question. What experience are you currently pressuring yourself to understand that you may simply need more time to live through? And what would change if you gave yourself permission to say, I don't know what this means yet? And your power thought, you don't have to understand the chapter while you're still living the pages. Reflection and meaning matter. Learning from our experiences matters. And timing also matters. You don't need to extract a lesson from every difficult moment while you are still trying to find your footing. You don't have to turn pain into purpose on a deadline. You don't have to explain why something happened, and you certainly don't have to make something terrible sound beautiful in order to prove you have grown from it. Sometimes your job is simply to live what is happening. Pay attention. Take care of yourself. Make the next decision. Let more of the story unfold. Understanding can come later. Think about something you're currently trying very hard to understand. Instead of asking, what does this mean? Try asking, what do I need while I don't know yet? Maybe that's a more useful question for you right now. You can make meaning later. Today, maybe you simply need to live. Thank you for joining me for another episode of She Rises Daily, Emerging You in 10. If today's episode made you think of someone who is currently trying to turn a difficult experience into a TED Talk before they've even finished living it, send this episode their way. And until next time, remember, you don't need the lesson today. You don't need the perfectly constructed story. And you don't have to understand the chapter while you're still turning the pages. Sometimes, I don't know yet is perfectly enough.